We're going to talk a little bit of baseball on the program. When I talk baseball, always like having my good buddy from BaseballNation.com joining us, Stephen Goldman. Stephen, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
You know, I'm all right. I've been a little preachy today. I got to calm down. You're going to have to help me get my blood pressure back.
Okay.
You can do that?
Well, I got a bottle of Toprol here, a bottle of Diavan. I think that we can work something out.
Now you're scaring me. What's up with you, Stephen? All right. Anyway, hey, Stephen, I'm looking at things. We are getting closer and closer to see who can answer the bell. And I have to tell you, some of the races are really heating up. And people are going to call me a homer as I do this because I actually sit here today at Score. They sell some great team merchandise, and I'm actually sitting here in a throwback Phillies jersey today. But, I have totally wiped them off of my radar, and I think most of baseball did, but I'm looking around the wild card in the National League. That thing's getting interesting now. Atlanta looks like they're in the driver's seat, but everybody else, you got St. Louis is there. Pittsburgh's 2.5 back. Dodgers 1 game back, and now after they imploded the club, Philly's only 4 out of the wild card. Could it happen?
It seems kind of unlikely to me, but as long as you've got Cliff Lee pitching as well as he has, Cole Hamels, Roy Halladay hasn't been great, but at least he's there. There's always a chance. And there are 2 wild card slots this year, and I guess going forward. So there's always a chance that somebody can slip in at the last minute and take that last playoff spot. And the Dodgers can't seem to get out of neutral lately. The Pirates, I'm really not sure if the Pirates are going to finish on over 500. They've been playing so badly. And that's one of the more fascinating stories in baseball right now, in the way that they've fallen off here late in the season. So, and actually we can throw in the Cardinals too, which are also, they're all sort of just idling the teams in front of the Phillies. So yeah, if stranger things have happened. It would be odd to see a team that's just over 500 make it. Right now, they're, as we speak, they're at 500. But, you can't rule it out.
Yeah, and Stephen, when you look at it, too, if you really look at it, they threw the white towel in with all of the, the trades that they made. And, it just makes me wonder, while they're not setting the world on fire, as you say, they're only at 500, do you think – after the trades were made, do you think some of the guys left there are going, hey, you know what, we better play? They're going to throw us all out of here?
They might be, but they've also just gotten some kind of fluky production from journeymen like Eric Kratz, who caught while Carlos Ruiz was out. They got production from Kevin Franzen, who's hitting .341 right now, another minor league journeyman who's a prospect about 5 to 7 years ago, and has just never really hooked on. And that's the way that they've done this. And the thing is, at the same time, again, these guys are not playing up to what we expect of them in the past, but they got Ryan Howard back, they got Chase Utley back, so they've managed to reload a little bit, even as they got rid of those guys. And let's face it, Hunter Pence was an overpriced, overpaid player for the kind of production that he provided in outfield corner, and a bad defender. Shane Victorino is not having a good year by his standards. And, John Mayberry, who's played a lot of center for them, is not his equal with the glove, but he's been about his equal with the bat. So it's almost like those trades didn't happen.
Speaking with Stephen Goldman, BaseballNation.com, here on the program right now. And, yeah, it's just kind of funny because myself, like I said, I follow all of this, but I kind of just threw in the towel, and it's amazing. And I guess in baseball, that's why they play 162. You look at the Cardinals run. In baseball, it's very common when you look at these things. The teams that get hot late usually hold on and win. Am I right?
Quite often, if they're not too far out to begin with.
Right.
Look at the Padres. The Padres have been the hottest team in baseball, or at least in the National League, the last month or 6 weeks or so. They're winning all the time. Suddenly, everything's coming together with them. Chase Headley has the NL lead in RBIs. But the thing is that even with that, they're 7 games or 8 games under 500, and about 8 games out of the wild card. So the odds are spectacularly against them right now. But in terms of the Phillies, who have just been able to stay close while playing just 500 balls straight down the line, 500 at home, 500 on the road. They've allowed about as many runs as they've scored. They're just the quintessential 500 team. Normally we would rule that team out, but again, because you have that second wild card spot, anything is possible.
Stephen, when you look at things in the American League, too, I mean, we have sat here and tried to write off Baltimore all year until recently. We just go, hey, I guess they're going to be here. You and I have talked about it for months now. Keep going, when's the market crash going to happen? And it just hasn't. But when you look at the American League, a couple of things that I look at. Well, I look at the Central. Okay, we know Baltimore and New York are having the run, but I look at the Central. I look at the White Sox. I look at Detroit. And I'm starting to look at them going, do either one of these teams really want to win that division? Because I look at that Central, they look like they're not playing good baseball at the time of year where they need to be playing good baseball. And I think whoever wins that is just going to be a team that maybe has a great last week.
It's entirely possible. And the Tigers, with the pitching that they have, you'd almost think that they could suddenly you turn the Jets on and take things over. And the current series that they're playing with the White Sox will help determine that in a big way. But I think one of the problems for the Tigers is really that, as laudable as the experiment was to push Miguel Cabrera to third base so they could get Prince Fielder in there and at first base and also play at DH, it's a great idea. It's just that it hasn't worked really well, and that overall and again, Cabrera doesn't deserve all or even half the blame for this. They are the worst defensive team in the American League. They give their pitchers, they put a burden on their pitchers in terms of giving the opponents extra outs, both in terms of making errors and in just balls not caught, things that don't show up in the box score as errors, they go as hits that, better, rangier players would have had. So as good as a Verlander can be, as good as a Scherzer can be, or a Doug Fister, they are putting a lot of pressure on those guys to be perfect, and that, in the end, I think the White Sox are opposite of that in a lot of ways, and they just have crazy amounts of power. They are third in the American League in terms of runs realized via the home run. So, I mean, they have their own advantages. They're not pretty. Their pitching staff is kind of coughing to the finish. But I think, I really think they might hold on and win this thing.
Speaking with Stephen Goldman, BaseballNation.com here on the program. Stephen, when you look around in the American League, as we say, it looks like, Baltimore and New York are going to, take this thing almost down to the wire. And the wild card, when you look at this wild card, let's make sure people understand. We have two wild cards this year, but the wild card is not going to be your traditional series. It's going to be this one and done, right?
Right. So if you're a team like the Yankees where you're sliding out of your division lead, you're in trouble because your whole season could boil down if you find yourself falling into the wild card. In previous years, it was, it doesn't matter whether you finish first or in the wild card because either way, you're going to a first round series. It could be, it might change your opponent, it might change your home field advantage, but you're still going. Now you have a play-in. You have a sudden death one-game playoff where anything can happen. Any bad hop grounder, fluke performance, any one player has an off day, and you're going home. That's the end of the year. So there is tremendous pressure to win the division titles and to not fall into that situation, and that's part of what makes makes the American League East race so delicious. At the same time, Hold on, Stephen.
Okay. I got to stop you. You just called the race delicious. You're scaring me. You called it delicious. I mean, what the hell is this? The Food Network, or are we talking sports? What are we doing here? Delicious. All right, Stephen, go on.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm sorry,
that.
I'm giving you a hard time.
No, that's. I don't think I've ever used that word in sports coverage.
That's what I mean. It's a first, but I really don't want it to happen again. Delicious. That scares me.
So I won't call it piquant either.
Okay.
It's dry with a bit of nose on it. It's interesting. Philosophically, I think I'm opposed to this idea of the whole baseball marathon being reduced to one day by sort of artificial means. At the same time, it is interesting to see we've got a 2-game gap in the American League, two games in the Central, 3 games in the West. The National League is a little bit less competitive, but for all these teams in second place, the A's, the Tigers, and the the Yankees or Rays or Orioles, depending on how you look at it, there's just an immense benefit to finishing first.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stephen, the one thing, and you just hit on this, let's be honest. I know people are happy there's an extra wild card, but the truth is there really isn't. Because it's just one game. It's all semantics. And all it's going to do is strengthen the division. As you say, it's going to strengthen the division winners' chances of actually winning in a wild card, not getting through as they've been so accustomed to doing, because they may have to spend those top-notch arms in that one-game scenario.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I wanted to withhold judgment on this particular change until we saw it in action, because in some senses it could have diffused pennant races rather than creating them. I think so far, again, at least in the American League, it really is helping to add something. And you're right. What it is two teams every year get a game 163. That's all it is. Yeah. So maybe that's not a bad thing.
Maybe it's not. We'll see. Maybe we'll stop having wild cards win the World Series all the time. That's that's possible. But one other real quick thing. We've only got about a minute. I see they put out some schedules. They're actually going to start a season with interleague play. Can you tell me what the hell baseball's up to?
Well, they're moving the Astros to the American League West, and that means that there are odd number of teams in each league, which means that for the schedule to work, somebody's got to play interleague every single day. So you'll have opening day, you'll have Angels at Reds, closing day, you'll have Tigers at Marlins, and you'll have somebody playing interleague baseball pretty much every day in between. That said, it's only 20 games. It's gone from 18 to 20. I don't love it. I think it takes away from the uniqueness of the World Series, the All-Star Game, and so forth. But this is the way they have to go unless they either shrink or expand to an even number again.
Steven, I got to tell you, whatever happened to opening day in an afternoon in Cincinnati? Can we go back to old time? Like, am I too much of an old fart that's what I would like to have? That's what I want. Can't we go back there?
I like it too, but yeah, we're still getting the Sunday night opener for better or for worse.
I know. Hey, we've been chatting with Stephen Goldman of BaseballNation.com. This has been one of the most delicious segments of the year. I greatly, I'm sorry I picked on you, but that's going to go down in history now. I like that. You're the first person ever that I've interviewed that said delicious. I liked it.
Delicious and not too many carbohydrates, so it's all good.
Stephen Goldman, thank you so much for being part of the show. I always enjoy it. Thanks for being a good sport. And let's see next week if we can try to make Baltimore dead yet. They're not going to die on us. They're not dying.
Looking forward to it.
Hey, buddy, thank you so much. Stephen Goldman, BaseballNation.com, with us on the show, and we always appreciate that. And I don't know, we're just having a delicious day.